Good morning and welcome to Vote News at 9. I am Mavis Atudumi. Vice President Kashim Shettima has commiserated with the people and government of Enugu State over the fuel tanker fire, which claimed lives following an accident in the state, saying it is time to put an end to avoidable tanker accidents and explosions around the country. Shettima has promised that following Mr. President's directive, the government will engage relevant agencies, including the Federal Road Safety Corps, on possible ways the road traffic authorities as well as federal and state transportation ministries can cooperate to urgently forestall further tanker accidents and explosion across the country. Enugu State Governor Dr. Peter Mba joined a House of Representatives member Dennis Abu to commission 5 major school projects in Iweze North, Udenu Federal Constituency, marking Abu's 100 days in office. Governor Mba, represented by Education Commissioner Professor Ndubweze Mba, acknowledged the synergy between effective governance and representation. Community leaders and school principals have commended both Governor Mba and Abu for their efforts in providing educational infrastructure, including the ongoing construction of 200 smart schools in the state. On the national scene, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the last Edo State governorship election, Dr. Asue Igbodalu, has filed a 500 million naira defamation suit against the acting chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State, Jared Tenebe. Ighodalo demanded a retraction of Tenebe's alleged defamatory statement against him, an apology, as well as damages in the sum of 500 million naira. The Nigerian Customs Service, Oyo State and Osun State Area Command Controller, Dr. Ben Oramalugo, has decorated 95 officers and men of the command who were elevated to the next rank in the just concluded promotional exercise of the Nigerian Customs Service. And now in business news, the dollar to naira black market rate for today is buying at 1,640 naira and it's selling for 1,660 naira. The dollar to naira CBN rate for today is buying at 1,533 naira and it's selling for 1,534 naira. Still in the news, the Nigerian Communications Commission and Telecommunications Company have ruled out any extensions to the deadline for banks to settle their unstructured supplementary service data debts. This decision leaves defaulting lenders scrambling to meet the deadline by the close of business on Monday. The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed participants in the foreign exchange market to submit compliance reports on adherence to the Nigeria's FX code by January 31st, 2025. This directive is part of efforts to strengthen ethical practices, governance, and transparency in the market. It applies to authorized dealers licensed under the CBN Act of 2007, the Bank and Other Financial Institutions Act of 2020, and other entities engaged in wholesale FX businesses in Nigeria. And now in sports. Saudi Pro League side Al Nassr has reportedly started negotiations with Bayer Leverkusen to sign Nigerian striker Victor Boniface as a replacement for Anderson Talisca, who is set to join Fenerbahce. And back home, ahead of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been drawn in Group C alongside Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. The 3-time African champions will be eyeing a return to glory in Morocco, aiming to clinch their 4th AFCON title after narrowly losing the final code to Cote d'Ivoire. And that is the news. Thank you for joining us. I am Mavis Atudumi.
Life may not be perfect, but your sense of humor can be. Laugh through the challenges, and you'll find strength. Vote 104.3 FM.
Good morning and welcome to High Voltage. Today's Tuesday, Hump Day, 28th day of January, and it's still January 2025. Welcome to High Voltage. This is newspaper reviews, analysis, and of course, general breakdown of what's going on in the country. Welcome to the program this morning. You can catch us on YouTube live at High Voltage News. I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. You would like what we are giving you there. It's breaking news, it's updated stories, it's everything that you need to know in the country to keep you on your feet. So welcome to the program this morning. My name is Mavis Atudume, and without wasting any further time, we will just hit it straight to the newspapers. Let's find out what's really going on in the state. First of all, we would look at some of the major stories on the headlines this morning across newspaper channels in the country. Let's begin with the Punch News this morning to tell you that Anifere Khan and others have opposed the push for Sharia in the Southwest. I don't know if you've heard, but yes, there is a strong push for the movement of Sharia and its complete establishment in the Southwest. Now, in case you don't know this, most people in the Southwest are mostly Muslims. And because of that, the Sharia system seems to have its stake in the Southwest. Hence, they are having this close contact. And at this point, I think it's been instituted considering that there's been harassment and loss of lives of a few elderly Yoruba women to the ineption of these Sharia laws in the Southwest. Now it seems that it's become a thing, and now a lot of groups and individuals and associations in the Southwest are calling and crying out and trying to oppose the push for this Sharia law enforcement in the Southwest. And I think that the Southeast should begin to take notes as to how some of these things are happening silently, but surely creeping up on people. So I hope everybody else who is not probably dealing with this issue now is also putting this into considerations. Speaking forward, gospel singer pleads not guilty to killing Nasarawa copper. You have heard about this story. You heard about this story. It's one of the most tragic stories that came out of this country in the early days of 2025. A tragic, unfortunate incident. All right. Still in the news on the Punch, Lagos Assembly plans Obasa's fraud probe on resumption. Okay, Farotimi Anifere Obi hailed Afe Babalola for withdrawing defamation suit against Dele Farotimi. All right, he has to be hailed. So power is that powerful around here. A lot of things can be achieved by just being humble here. And this humility is costing us so much integrity in the country. But hey, I guess that's the game. All right, illegal mining. Oshomole's allegation against ex-military officers is reckless, says a retired general. All right, the allegations against ex-military officers is reckless, you know. Uh, uh, I can imagine a lot of scenarios in my head. But moving forward, owners of Niger exploded dynamites are still at large, says the Nigerian police. Okay, so let's see if there are a couple more things that you need to know from the Punch News this morning. Probe begins as gunmen abduct Abuja family on tour. This is becoming too normal for everybody to be acting like everything is okay. You know what I'm saying? This occurrences They are not normal. You can't normalize these stories. We can't read out these headlines like they are normal. This can't be an everyday occurrence. It can't be. It's either somebody's wife or somebody's family, or we're jumping into someone's home. It's not okay to be this unsafe in one's home. We're truly joking. All right, we're joking. EFCC officer slumps and dies in Lagos State. Investigations are ongoing. This incident happened yesterday. Investigations are ongoing. All right. Residents lament as robbers terrorize Lagos community. 2 people have been nabbed and ammunition recovered at Anambra State checkpoint. Continue to do good. USSD debt. NCC telcos rule out deadline extension for banks. All right. Federal government blames Niger explosion on illegal stockpiling of explosives. All right. Just keep up. The stories are coming up, okay? The stories are coming out. Cadbury has recorded 10.4 billion naira loss in 2024. Let me repeat myself. Cadbury. Do you know who Cadbury is? They make most of the beverages that you consume in this country. As Let me just give you a name. Bonvita. It's one of the most popular Cadbury products in this country right now. That company has recorded 10.4 billion naira in losses in our country. And this is a country, a company, an establishment that has, over the years, made good profit from doing business in this country. And of course, if we're struggling, everybody else is struggling. A terrible system doesn't work for anybody. That's just the truth. It could favor a couple of people who are pretending, because I mean, they are doing a lot of terrible things to be at the good side of the story. But the truth is that a terrible system is just bad news for everybody. All right. So yeah, this is where we are at. Yes, how can families afford to purchase chocolate drinks? Chocolate drinks in this country have become a luxury. Certain foods in this country have become a luxury, and you know that. If you don't know that, you're dishonest. You're a liar. Some foods in this country have become a privilege. You know this for a fact. It was mentioned that people cannot afford to buy proteins in the market anymore. And then we shushed ourselves up and motivated ourselves into pushing that aside. In this country, there was a time if you touched the loaf of bread, the arguments and the bashing that will come out from the Nigerian people will blow your mind. But I can tell you comfortably that today, the average Nigerian family cannot afford to buy a loaf of bread, let alone do it as a matter of consistency every morning. But it used to be a standard in this country at a certain time. Families were at least able to purchase bread in the mornings that they could feed their children to help them get to school and manage for the rest of the day. But you have so shut up the mouths of Nigerians. It's so difficult. We can't feed our children. And companies who make some of these foods available to us are complaining that we cannot afford their products anymore. So now they're losing in business. What does this tell you? In the first few months of this administration, multinational companies packed up and left us. We haven't read into any signs that we are getting in this nation and try to see if there is anything that we can do about it. We've continued to pretend, act on charades, psychophancy. We've continued to delude ourselves about our circumstances, which is quite awful, to say the least. Let me continue to read you the news. You can join me this morning. Let's tackle the stories. What stories are you interested in this morning? What stories do you want to comment on or help us understand or give us different views or perspective on what's going on? Can you draw the lines? It's okay that we find out from each other what it is that we think, because sometimes we don't even have an idea until someone creates a perspective or someone creates a scenario or takes you around the other bend and gives you another concept to something that you think you understand or something that you might know. The phone lines are officially open 0706 048 5853. You can also call 0915 570 8347 to be a part of the program this morning. Let's continue to review the news. I have some very annoying stories that I will tell you much later on. But we will continue to see what's on the headlines this morning. Nigeria's democracy it's at risk, says Atiku. Nigeria's democracy at risk, says Atiku. Good morning to you. Your name and
Good
location.
morning. How are you?
Very well. Your name and location, please.
The market is calling from Enugu.
Greetings. You're welcome.
Yeah. The issue of the Upper Bugolola withdrawing the case against the authority. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I learned that the paramount regulars
Mm-hmm.
preaching
Mm-hmm.
for that, and he was. They were telling him that forgive Pharaoh to me if he has won.
That's right.
The question I asked: who approached the Oba? Was it the plaintiff or the defendant approached the Oba to intercede, or did they intercede on their own accord? It's very, very important.
I remember that Dele Farotimi, immediately he came out from the authorities, made a public statement that he didn't ask anybody to go pleading on his behalf.
Yes,
He made the statement, yes.
Who has committed a sin that people should forgive?
I'm wondering that too.
If that is the case, what happens to the book that the court they should stop circulating?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is probably electronic or hard copies of the book. With the court, I'm expecting the court as well to give a decision on that or make a statement on that.
Okay.
Whether the book going to be circulated or not. We are waiting to see what's going to happen on that in that particular matter.
True.
That is by the way.
True.
Now you are talking about insecurity, and let me tell you, a loaf of bread, very, very difficult to purchase. You're absolutely correct. As long as there is insecurity pervading the nation, we will have food crisis. Then it is not rocket science. The northeast for almost more than 10 years now, more than a decade, the northeast has been submerged in crisis. Then the thing has diffused to the northwest. But definitely, the northwest, northeast in crisis, the north will be unstable, trickling down to the southwest and possibly to the southeast. So that is a problem.
It
so
is a
as long as
problem.
there is insecurity pervading the nation, there's going to be food crisis. There's going to be food crisis. There is need to settle this insecurity head on so that even the multinational companies can have that kind of visual of staying here and carrying out their business and making their profit. Mm-hmm. It's very, very important. Otherwise, a level of bread will continue to skyrocket to high level because of insecurity. And God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling.
You're not getting the name right. The masses, not the masses. The masses. The masses.
Ben Marcy, wait, hold on, don't run off yet, please. Can you say it once more so that I'm not the only one who doesn't get it? Ben,
the masses. You have been calling the masses, not the masses.
It's
the
not
masses.
Vin Martins.
S-E-S.
Ben Marcy.
Masses.
Masses.
Yeah.
All right. I apologies about the confusion there. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for calling. It's great to hear your perspective on things this morning. I greatly appreciate it.
It's all right.
Have a great day ahead.
Bye-bye.
All right, the phone lines are open. Please share your thoughts and views on the issues with us this morning. We are reviewing newspaper headlines and stories for our own understanding and for us to be able to make sense of what's really happening in our dear country where we are living out our lives. This is home. I'm sure you know this. This is actually home, and it should feel like home. Now, about the Dele Farotimi situation that Marcy's talked about, it turns out that all the printed copies of that book, the Supreme Court, and the expose in that book, and everything that it says about our judiciary, our legislature, our laws, everything that's happening, all the indictment that we have seen in our justice system, probably, is in that book. And it sold out. First things first, it sold out. All the printed copies sold out. The government put a stop to further publishing of the book. I don't know if it was translated into audio copies. I think some people outside of here were able to put them into downloadable copies. But that's as far as it goes. I'm sure if you go looking for it, perhaps you would find it. But then it bothers on a question. When things like this happen, we tend to act like we actually do not have laws in this country. So we have to beg individuals to let other individuals go. What does that say? Does that say that there are people who are more special in this country than others? It's a rhetorical question. It's rhetorical, right? Make of this question whatever you will. But there are people that we probably need to ask and beg and assuage before things are done in this country, before justice is done in Nigeria, before due process is followed, before merit is given, before truth is told, before something good is done. You remember the two musicians who had issues in this country. One told the other not very few days ago when he just came out of jail and says, if you do this again, I will show you. You know, the way we speak here, we speak like we know things. You remember the House of Representatives member from Abia State who threatened and harassed his boat driver who brought a delivery for him. Turns out some of us in this country know something that other people do not know. And sometimes when it's a little bit intoxicating, some of them go ahead to say it out, put it out in the public, and we get to hear. Now, Oshomole is being described as being reckless. Has he triggered some people? Has he pissed off some people? Has he gone to the places that nobody is allowed to go? Does he need to beg some people now? Because apparently, if you do what is right in this country, you offend some people that need assuaging. You need to go and please some people in this country, just so that we can have a moment of goodness. Turns out that for justice to be done in this country, someone has to do something. It's not necessarily justice. It's not necessarily the right thing, but it's just something that has to be done. Begging. Yeah, we will beg for so much more. Turns out that we will do a lot more begging than we have anticipated. A lot more begging, because more terrible things are going to happen, and we will find our ways around it like we usually do. And we will beg our way into a system that will not save anyone except they are willing to cut corners, or they have the ability to cut corners. And I can tell you, a society that runs like that is not a society that has longevity. I promise you. Having children is not longevity. Now, let me take you to the Daily Post this morning. Nigerian army terrorists are planning attacks. Kidnapping, says primate. So it turns out what you're saying is not just enough. There is so much more. The Nigerian army, they are the ones who are giving this information. Terrorists are planning attacks and kidnappings. This is coming from the army. Okay, do with this what you may. Why the Catholic forbids the Freemason, says Archbishop Kofi. All right, you might want to read up on that if you are interested in finding out about the Freemasonry and some of the higher religious organizations that exist in religious organizations that will blow your mind. Documents like this are good to read up on so that you have an idea what's happening in your own world. All right, let's also tell you that in Niger State, the owner of dynamites are still at large, says the Nigerian police. I've forgiven Dele Farotimi, Obasanjo, and Kuka begged me, says Afe Babalola. It's sounding very godlike at this point. The audacity at which you people trust the injustice in Nigeria is troublesome. It's worth one checking their heads for. Because what do you mean? It's all over the news channels. You have to give us names of the men who have begged you, how important these men are. And it's sounding very All right. Well, 411 Nigerians died from scooping fuel in 2024, says the FRSC. The Federal Road Safety Corps have given us a rundown of 411 Nigerians who died in 2024 from rushing and trying to scoop fuel and petroleum products from falling tankers and foreign cargoes. This has become a thing. It's not like it's new. We've heard about these stories from long time ago, but it's gotten to another level. But then this country cannot be surprised at the rate at which crime is rising in its environment. You cannot all dance this away. A society and an economy like this, you are expected to have a high rise in crime. You cannot pretend that because everybody's acting like these stories are weird or something. No, they are not. It's a sign of a failing system, a sign of a country where companies are packing up and leaving. SMEs are shutting down. A country where young people cannot access loans from the banks and start businesses. A country that is hungry. A country that is slowly falling apart. A country which its unemployment rate is unbelievably high. Your out-of-school children is unbelievably high. There are no jobs anywhere. I've asked people who live in Enugu, since you've been in this country, since you've been in Enugu State, whom have you seen hiring? Who do you know who is hiring? Except with the goodness of the person of Pitamba, who has now come into Enugu and is giving Enugu hopes of business, giving Enugu hopes of future growth, giving Enugu hopes of jobs with the infrastructural development and all of the nice things that are coming into Enugu, and giving the people who live in this town something to actually look forward to, because the town was beginning to lose it. Oh yes, Enugu was beginning to lose it. The town was regressing. The town was going back. And someone has come, someone who is probably not happy with the system, someone who wants to create jobs for young people, who wants to give opportunity to people who want it. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mavis.
Greetings.
My name is Fine Glow. I reside in Emene.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Your words is actually what triggered me to make this call. Are we surprised at anything in Nigeria again? I don't think we are surprised. Nothing. The things that happened yesterday will happen tomorrow evening. In fact, everybody is a prophet in Nigeria now. You see this tank canal that destroyed people?
Yes.
The nightmare. The similar will happen maybe before next week will end. People will say, God forbid now. Yes, we always say God forbid. Because even those that God gives arms and legs that can walk, that have been opportune to go to school, have all knowledge, and their common sense is active, still, they fall victim. They call God to do what God has given to them. And that is the proper picture of Nigeria. You understand? Because I know that Nigeria is a country but some individuals decide to channel that money to their purse. I made this point yesterday in Odenibo. I'm repeating it again. If we have train well connected in Nigeria, all those big cargoes that fly our road will not fly road.
True.
If you have train lines linked to depots, you will take your oil, you will take it to your state without any accident. Even if there will be accident, it will be proper total unknown accident. Not this one that just because some people choose to be careless. Nobody values the life of anybody. Many of them, we heard about the news, we pity it for the family once. But that's exactly where it ends. That is what has been happening. It's quite unfortunate. I don't even know where to hold this present Nigeria from the days of Buhari. I risked everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. I have challenge. I have spinal cord injury over 18 years ago.
Apologies.
So it's difficult for me to move around.
I'm sorry.
But when I had a hope that somebody like Peter Obi, who is a man who is straightforward, is coming to run a country like this, I risked everything by even going to Enugu's local government. After filling my form online to get my voter's card, I went with 2 times, capturing and everything. I got my voter's card. I voted. They made sure my count. Who they want. They are suffering everybody without apology. Giving all of space without apology. So nobody cares. If I finish speaking now and I die, nobody cares. There is somebody else to speak. Even speak louder than me.
I'm sorry.
If you maybe left that station, nobody cares. That is how awful Nigeria has been.
I hear you.
The real heroes are dying. The fake ones who buy themselves, seat and positions are being celebrated. Somebody was analyzing, I saw something online last time. Somebody was analyzing those we saw their heads in our practices as heroes. And he was pointing the errors they have made. And he was acting somebody who designed Nigerian military uniform. Where is he? Nobody knows it.
That is true.
Somebody who composed Nigerian national anthem. Where is?
All right, I have to let you go. I really did appreciate listening to you. Very calmly presented. I like that very much. Thank you so much for calling the show, sir. You can always call back. The phone lines are open. But let me also say this. History is written by the conquerors. History is written by the winners. The loser doesn't get to tell their side of the story. Do with this information what you may. Good morning to you. Good morning. Anybody there? All right, I have to let you go. Do call back. It's 0706-048-5853. You can also call 0915-570-8347 to join me on the analysis this morning. We're looking at some of the stories coming out of our own country, Nigeria, this morning, and what it means to all of us. Good morning.
Morning.
Greetings to you. Your name and location, please.
This barrister, Chukwuemeka, calling from Enugu.
You're welcome, barrister.
Thank you. We're unfortunate continue to hear such stories in our place. As you begin to ask, do we depart this place to another planet? Very, very unfortunate. Look at the way it died at 9 months. Like the last color there. Who cares? That's the end of the story. Yeah, that one.
Oh, Barrister Emeka, please, I would ask you to please call us back. It will really help if you try the other numbers. I just really would love to hear what you have to say very clearly. 0706-048-5853. You can also call 0915-570-8347 to be a part of the program this morning. Did I tell you that troops nabbed Boko Haram terrorists in Taraba State? Also, Bello Tuji, if you have heard this name before, he's a very notorious terrorist, very much attached to ISWAP in Nigeria. Reports are coming in that he has not been arrested, truly unlike what the former reports had said, and that he's still at large. Insurgency analyst Makama gave us this information. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Larry.
You're welcome. Your name and location, please.
My name is Charles Mafini.
You're welcome.
I want to talk about
Yeah, and I mean, referring to social media statement as being reckless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought to somebody, I mean, to respond appropriately to me, because what the family says is completely in order. Unless
Okay.
you're not unless you're not living in this country.
Okay.
The army have been in power for years. In fact, from 1999 to today, in 2025, the army has been president for 16 years. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. He's an army general. Buhari was there for 8 years. An army general. During this period under review, David Mark was in the Senate for 12 years. Out of the 12 years, he was there as senior president for 8 years. So the army is deep rooted in so many things in Nigeria, in so many sectors, in so many industries. So the oil sector is not different. So when Oshomole, like I said yesterday, once Oshomole is talking, he's talking from a position of knowledge. And I want this fight to, I want this to be a fight that Oshomole should be easy to fight. Let him not back down, because so many things these army officers do, they do it with impunity.
Mm.
Even the Navy, even the Air Force, even the police, they do so many things with impunity. And when they do it, if it's taken on mansions they live in, even serving army officers and police officers, if they kind of houses they live in, you will fear. You wonder where they get the money from. They live in houses that cost about 500 million naira, serving army officers, police officers, and nobody is saying anything. So I think Oshomole should wake up and brave this fight and stand up to this fight and fight it to the end. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you for calling in, Charles. But then I also wanted to ask you a question before you ran off. I wanted to ask you, now that these army generals are calling his statement reckless, what do you think? Do you think that he has stepped on some toes? Do you think he has caused problems? And then now that he has said it, is anybody going to go after these ex-army generals with the information Oshomole is releasing? Good morning to you. Good morning.
Our network is not friendly this morning.
It's
from my
fantastic
location.
now. It's fantastic now. You're welcome. Your name and location.
Thank you. All right. This is Chukwemeka calling from anywhere.
You're welcome, barrister.
Like I was trying to start my speech,
Mm-hmm.
it's when you see a country where where there's no leadership or where there's a wrong foundation, this is what we expect. Like what the last caller just said, Oshomole was very blunt. It did not mean as words. But I must remind you, that's not the first time we heard such things. It's not the first time.
Okay.
Before now, we all are aware that in those Zamfara area,
Mm-hmm.
they produce gold.
Of course.
And that gold, the state of Zamfara was asked to sell the gold and pay to the Nigerian state. But those who owns oil in the south, we are meant to note that it is an exclusive right of a federal government. Good. Before now, the person that was given the private security that guides the oil in the Niger Delta area, he accused the Navy of being part of that. They arrested so many vessels to which Nigerians see. We saw it in television, and at a point they had to blow up that vessel so that there can be an evidence to prosecute those involved. So a lot of things happen. Now,
barrister, I have some
how do we
questions.
change
I have
it?
some questions for you before you
Okay,
give me your
go ahead.
solution, right?
Go ahead.
As a lawyer, you know the law, you know how these things work. In
Yes.
a sane country with such an exposition, with such an allegation, because that's what it is, that's what I'm going to call it now from Oshomole, with such an allegation from such a person, because that man has been in the political scene for quite a while. So I'm thinking if someone in Oshomole's person, if he makes such a statement, I'm expecting that there should have probably been an intervention where there is maybe investigations. What would have happened in a sane client where this accusation is made? what would have happened?
Immediately, the security agents will bring into action, possibly get more facts from Oshomele,
Okay.
go after them. But like I say, DSS knows this, all these intel. Those information are there before the president. You heard him very well that he even took the letter to president, former president. I mean, that these people are making billions of dollars, but Nigerians are dying. They are subjecting us. They choose to subject ordinary Nigerians to pay more taxes and pay more levies instead of going after those people who are enjoying our commonwealth, rooting our commonwealth. How can we as a nation going to borrow money when very few generals are cooking over billions of dollars made for the development of? Does tell you there's something wrong? Like what you are saying, the president lacks the political will to get them. Of course, one of the former president, who's the general, was mentioned that his chopper was dropping some of these ammunition in some locations, which he quickly came to the media and denied. And that will tell you the class of people that are involved. It's not a small thing. For even this president to venture into it, he must prepare well to do that. Because the people that are doing it are not common people, like Oshikon said. These are people who have a very strong background, who have very supportive of strong military background. They can turn this country around.
Really?
I tell you.
So there are people who are that powerful in this country.
Yes, that's where we find ourselves. It's where we find ourselves. And as you can see, it's very disheartening. We can't even enjoy a good road as long as road.
Yeah.
Road. Nigerians cannot enjoy a good road. And that will tell you how deficiency the leadership of this country has exhibited. They lack that political will. And it is a wrong foundation. Because if we have had a good foundation, a good law, constitution made by people, not the one imposed by the military, it will be difficult for anybody or any tribe or any zone or any section of religion to violate it and get away with it. But it was structured such that it will favor a particular people. And each time you want to touch it, those people know. They knew why they structure it that way. Any attempts to change it, they will rise up and get their whatever they call it to disrupt the system. What I see here in part of Southeast is nothing to compare with what I saw last time I traveled to North. You see this number of is that an Almajiri or what do you call them?
Almajiri.
It's a ticking time bomb. It's like a locust. They are looming in the north like a locust. And they don't care. They don't care where they sleep. They don't care who. So they can always use them to cause mayhem and trouble. The moment they fall out with the president, they will put the whole country into turmoil. And they always capitalize on that. Their children are not there. They are in overseas, studying, enjoying good life. But they have to subject certain class of people to such poverty so that anytime you ask them to go to field and cause trouble, they will go and cause trouble. So we are calling what we are questioning whether the president has the political will to confront this monster. That's the question here. Can he do that? Because we need these billions of dollars to embark on infrastructure projects. You see, I'm not holding brief from Mba, but his command center, what he has been able to put in place in Enugu, has given Enugu a relative peace.
It's as simple as that. You don't have to overflog it. It's clear.
What the leadership is all about. I can tell you, I came from a community that has some sand and some other things.
Barrister, I would like for you to hurry it up so that others can join us.
Good. Do you know nobody can confront the contractors Mba has given work to do? Because they know whom he is. If you try it the way where you find yourself, nobody will tell you.
That's right.
So that is leadership. Can they borrow from what Mba is doing? That is leadership. It doesn't look at faces. That is what it means.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Barrister, for calling. I always appreciate your views on things. Appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. It's crazy. And then I like that you mentioned the situation in the north, where they're taking advantage of some of these situations, the Almajiri and the out-of-school children. And you only get to hear them push these situations forward. When they need something from the federal government, when they need something done, then they remember, we are the highest with the highest out-of-school children. We are the highest to have Almajiri people. We need help. It's not happening. It's not happening. There's always something going on. One wonders, is there a reason why that is? Is there a reason why that is? We're still taking calls. You can also still join the conversation. And back at Oshomole, retired general challenges Oshomole back illegal mining and its claims against ex-military officers with evidence. Now, Major General Bamidele Olawumi, a retired military officer, has strongly criticized Senator Adams Oshomole for his recent allegations that retired military generals are involved in illegal mining activities in Nigeria. In a statement he released on Tuesday, that is this morning, he called the remarks of the senator reckless, baseless, and offensive, accusing the senator of unfairly maligning the reputation of retired generals who have served Nigeria with honor. It unfolds. The statement goes even longer. You can see the entire script. You can see the entire story on our YouTube page. Check us out on High Voltage News. I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. We have every information that you need on there. Now, I want to take you to our investigated stories just to catch you up real quickly before the program shuts down this morning. We have barely 10 minutes. You can still call in to share your thoughts with me this morning. Apologies if I'm not taking, but I will in a second. All right? Good morning to you.
Hello.
Greetings. Your name and location, please.
I am calling from Enugu.
Okay, what's your name, please?
My name is Mr. Odozian.
Odoziako. You're welcome, man.
Ka m sụọ n'Igbo, oyibo a na-asọrọ ndị prezidenti na gọvanọ ka ndị mmadụ ghọta ihe a na-akọ. Ije na n'erodu asidenti a mere, nwa ọdụkọ si dị ka enwe ndị na-achị n'obodo ahụ. Ije n'erodu a, moto na-aga, bọs na-aga, trela na-aga, ha ncha na-atụ onwe ha isi. Onwere ọkụ si dị ka mmadụ ọ na-achịgo n'obodo a. Onye chichara itu ọ dịrị ụta, onye chichara itu ọ dịrị ụta. Kedu ka esi akwụ ndị na-achị millions and millions? Onye kọntraktọ ego rie mmiri ọ ka na-egbu mmadụ. Mmiri kirikwa edozi gị gburugburu doziri ya, ọ ka na-egbu mmadụ. Enwe onye ka na-adanye n'olu. Edozie n'erodu ahụ, bọs na-aga, trela na-aga, private na-aga, onwere ihe ga-eme. And the moto ga na-atụ nwanne ya gap. Ha na-atụkọta onwe ha ọnụ. Onye ọlọ dị ọsọ ụsọ, onye ga-agbasiru. Bọs na-agba, private na-agba, overtake. Na Nigeria nwere ka ọ dị o.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you for calling the program. I appreciate. The governor is listening. At least one thing you can give Governor Mba credit for is that he doesn't do a minimalist job. He is a standard person, and I'm sure that he will fix the Ugwuonyama situation. It's high time. Thank you so much for calling in, madam. God bless you so much for calling. We still have time, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You have 1 minute when you do call in. Let me tell you, also speaking of Enugu and some of the things that the governor is doing here. Enugu State has approved the landmark climate and off-grid electricity policy and strategy. I'm sure you've heard about the landmark and the investment they're coming to do in Enugu State. What, over 10 billion naira? Innovative. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Okay, so I am encouraging all of you to come and do business with Volt FM while you are at it. Check us out. We have the standard that the new Enugu is coming into. You better come in and tap in here and advertise your business and your stuff with us. Okay, so let me also tell you that in yet another pace-setting move, targets 792,000 new jobs in renewable energy and waste management. This is not a farce. It's happening. Look around. If you need a job in Enugu, this is a good time to find one. In yet another pace-setting move, like I told you, the Enugu state government is under the leadership of Governor Mba, and he has approved the Climate Policy and Action Plan. All right, he's making it the first subnational government in Nigeria to adopt a long-term climate strategy that incorporates emissions modeling, micro-energy audits, and extensive stakeholder investment. Now, while you are sitting down and you're listening to all of these things happen, we are telling you this so that you know when what is what, because you have to know who is who to know what is in what. So we're giving you this information so that you know when the doors are open, because every once in a while in the midst of chaos, something good happens, but you must be in the right place and at the right time to be able to put yourself into what is happening. You must know when the jobs are ready and when they are hiring. You must know what is happening. Stop shutting down your ears when you hear about the way your lives are being discussed. Politics is your life. This is your life. This is the future of your children that we're talking about. The men and women that you call their names, the great men and women that you have their headshots in your offices and in the most important places in the world, are the people who are calling the shots on how good or how ugly your life gets. So you must become interested. Now, I didn't used to be interested. You think? I didn't used to be interested until I realized that this is life itself that we're talking about, and that everything depends on it. The money in your pocket, the food in your kitchen, the water at your backyard, everything, that the roof over your head depends on these men and these women that we casually call politicians. And some of you don't care what they do, but I'm telling you right now, they're doing it with your existence, and you must know about it. You have a right to know about it, and you have a right to involve yourself in the decisions they are making about your life. Let me quickly tell you that Godswill Akpabio, that is the Nigeria's number 3rd man, Senate president in his all rights, right? He made a statement yesterday where he told Nigerians that they will fight corruption, fix the economy and the security problems in Nigeria. This is an assurance that was coming from the Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday. This came from the Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday, I beg your pardon, from the Vanguard News. This information hit us 19 hours ago. In the same moment, citizens tighten their belts. Despite economic hardship, despite economic deterioration, Wike has allocated 10 billion naira for rent and furniture for Godswill Akpabio, the Nigerian Senate president. So as citizens tighten their belts, should leaders be approving 10 billion naira for their own comfort? Public funds must serve public interests. But someone like me would think that it's already too late for us to start commenting about the domestic problems that Nigerian politicians have. Because the first things that the people who are running this present administration did immediately they came into office was begin to do some of their, solve some of their domestic problems. They needed to solve some of these problems because we needed to use 21 billion naira to fix Kashim Shettima's residence. Because God forbid he stays in a residence that probably other vice presidents in this country have used, and they didn't, nothing happened to them, obviously, but it's going to be an indictment to the entire country if our vice president doesn't get his 21 billion naira renovated residence. It's amazing. So now you can't complain, because I mean, if this vice president is good enough to get a 21 billion naira renovation in his residence, why won't you give 10 billion naira to the Senate president for his furniture. We should probably marry new wives for them at this point. You are so callous. You are so reckless, so insensitive. You don't even care anymore. 10 billion naira for his rent. You would think Akpabio was a homeless man. You would think that Godswill Akpabio was homeless in this country. Now we've got to pay rent for him. It's not enough that they earn 300% of what they are supposed to earn against 70,000 naira that they have refused to pay the average minimum wage earner in Nigeria. You have refused to pay 70,000 naira, but you all got 300%, over 300% increases in your salaries and allowances. It was one of the first things that this government gave to you when it came into power because it needed you to be happy. They wanted you to be happy. They wanted you all to be happy. And it turns out your happiness doesn't run out because while Nigerians are grappling to buy a bag of rice for 130,000 naira, 120,000 naira, we are also putting in national funds, national resources in approving 10 billion naira for your rent and furniture. Dear Godswill Akpabio, who has told Nigerians to make themselves available where they see free food, who has carelessly and callously dropped very unpresidential statement, very un-elite statement on the Nigerian people, especially at hard times. You people have a lot of nerve. And it's because most times we the people, we must take some blame because we keep waving our hands in the air and saying that it doesn't matter what happens. We tell ourselves it is what it is. We say all of these phrases. And in reality, we leave them out because now we are dumbing down. And now these people do not know where to stop. They don't know where to say, that's a little too extreme. Let's not put that out there in the public. It's insensitive. Let's not do that. They don't have any of these restrictions anymore. There's no decorum. You wake up in the morning, you say what you want. There is no consequence. There is no accountability. It's okay, whatever you do here. So there are entities in this country that one must be afraid of. There are entities in this country that one must be wary of. It's our reality. So what I have for you and I today is that we need to stand up and first of all get educated. And I'm not talking you starting school. I'm talking picking up interest in the areas in your life that you probably didn't pay a lot of attention to, because that could be the areas that are not doing so good in your life. That thing you've been doing always, maybe it's time to try something different this time around. Pick up something different and read. Listen to people who are trying to teach you about how the world you're living in functions, the factors and elements that are put in place to keep you the way that you are. They are trying to educate you. They're trying to put information in your head. Stop consuming the same old things that have kept you dumb. Pick it up. Pick up the pace. And if we continue to educate ourselves and improve ourselves, we will definitely amount to something that is good, and we will effect change in our immediate environment. Try to have a good day while you're out there doing your business today. My name is Mavis Atudume. Join me again tomorrow morning, same place, same time. All right? Try to have a good morning today.
Hello, and welcome to Volt 104.3 FM.